Good morning, Keith Tebow with you today. As we continue to progress with the persistence and the increased distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine, and fortunately, our COVID cases have gone down, we're starting to get more to a back to a normal routine in terms of many of our businesses, and that includes a lot of our, regional businesses throughout the entire South Coast. And I want to bring in Erik Rousseau. He is the administrator for the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority, SRTA. And we spoke about SRTA a while back in terms of still providing public transportation for us in the South Coast. Erik, how are you? Thanks for joining me again.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. We're doing well. We keep on rolling, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I want to start by giving some people some background. I think we spoke sometime back in the summer. That was a time when obviously a lot of industries, including SRTA, was struggling a bit. Go back to about 6 or 7 months ago when we had last spoken in terms of some of the challenges that SRTA had faced in terms of loss of ridership due to the pandemic. And we'll get up to date in terms of what's happening recently. So talk about, again, just refresh our memories about how the pandemic impacted the transit authority.
Yeah, we did have seen a bit of loss in ridership. Back in March of 2020, we suspended our fare collection to increase safety for both our workforce and our passengers. And since then, we've been trying to identify what ways we can further increase safety. So we've required electrostatic sprayers, which help with sanitation efforts. We've installed MERV 13 filters on the buses to help purify the air and clean the air as it's circulating through the bus. We have a better understanding of how air flows through the bus in the first place. So you may see more windows open from time to time. But primarily, we've been focusing on that safety aspect, and we'll actually be installing driver barriers in all of our vehicles to, again, keep both the public and our workforce safe.
So as the summer went on and the fall and now the winter, now we're getting again to some nice weather. Have you been able to see a ridership increase in some way, shape, or form?
I'd say that it's fair to characterize our ridership change as slowly increasing throughout the last few months. What we've actually seen is that we're having more riders in the middle of the day, and where our ridership still remains a little bit light is on the shoulders in the morning and the evening. But we're trying to make sure that service remains out there for when people are ready to come back.
That's interesting. You would think that people, more and more people are going back to work. So you would think that you get some more ridership in terms of some of your constituencies, in the morning and in the evening, the general commutes of days. What are your thoughts in terms of, how things look moving forward? Again, more people are getting the vaccine, more people are becoming a little more comfortable going out. Do you expect that in the next, even 5 or 6 months, you expect that, ridership will be on the increase?
Yeah, we believe so. And actually, it's good that you mentioned the vaccine. We have listed the known vaccination sites on our webpage so that if anybody needs any help figuring out how to take a bus to get to the sites, there is information there. But I would imagine that as people are more comfortable to travel and do things after work again and go out to eat or go shopping, that we'll see some of that ridership pick up. I think at the moment that people are still trying to be more mindful of when they go shopping and trying to do it less frequently if possible.
Yeah, and that leads to this week coming up on April 1st. SRTA has announced that it's reinstituting its fees. What went into that discussion in terms of resuming the fees, and obviously it won't be the full fares. The full fares will take effect again sometime in September. So talk about that process of you and the board working through the process of reinstituting SRTA fees.
Well, we obviously recognized that having a fare-free system for the last year now, that it had an economic benefit to our passengers. But it's important to note that the reason that we went fare-free wasn't necessarily about that economic benefit. It was about the safety and security of our passengers and our workforce. So what we we did is we decided that we were going to listen to the experts who said that the fall and the winter could be much worse. And we didn't institute fare collection sooner. Many of our peers actually started back up in last September. So we felt that there was some valuable information that we could gain by tracking our ridership patterns and diving into our dwell times to understand how fares are impacting our actual on-time performance and our system performance as a whole. So we used the fall to sort of gain that information, continue to have the benefit for our passengers, and at the same time, we were very, I felt, forward thinking of and listening to the experts when we did have the big surge in the fall and the winter. And we were glad that we didn't do it sooner. But now we are looking towards collecting fares again. And we're starting up with what we're calling a step-up fare. We're reducing the cash fare from $1.50 to $1. Part of that is to eliminate as much need for change as possible so that somebody could just walk in with $1 and load that quickly. We're also reducing our pass products to try to incentivize people to go to multi-use pass products. The multi-use pass products do help speed up boarding times and reduce that need for interaction at the fare box. So for instance, our all-day pass is going to be priced at $2 and was previously priced at $4. So for practical sense, if you're going to take a trip with us in one direction, most likely you might take a return trip with us at some point as well. So it may just be to your benefit to go ahead and get an all-day pass. And also in this, we're going to have free fares for anybody who is eligible for a senior Charlie card or anybody with a qualifying disability. But you have to have the proper Charlie card for that.
Now, in terms of collecting fares, you mentioned that, at that $1 fare, it's easier for people just to have a dollar bill and to submit it. Are there going to be extra care taken in terms of people, purchasing rides, purchasing fares, especially those long-term, those multiple pass fares, in terms of making sure people are safe in terms of, collecting the money and distributing that?
Yeah, we actually are hoping that we can help use this as a new opportunity to retrain our ridership, retrain our passengers to dive into multi-use passes for the future. They can have an economic benefit to our passengers. So that's something that we really want to make sure that we communicate and get across to everybody. But it also helps keep our buses on time. Every time that somebody comes on with a handful of nickels and dimes and feeds them in the fare box, it does slow things down. So we want to do whatever we can to help our passengers either load fares on FRCMedia at our terminals or if need be at the fare box as well. So one thing that people may have experienced in the past is that there was a threshold of $5 in order to reload stored value on your Charlie card, and we've lowered that to $2 at the fare box because it is still an inconvenience for the trip to do it at the fare box, but we want people to have that opportunity. But at the TVMs, the ticket vending machines inside of our terminals, we've actually lowered that incremental need to load it to 25 cents. So that will really, I think, help free up people to allow them to benefit from using the Charlie card.
Yeah, one thing that I failed to ask you was, even though ridership went down and you instituted the no fee for travelers, the Transit Authority did receive some assistance from state and federal government to make sure you kept going and was able to keep the lights on and the buses running. So how important was that, over the past year?
Yeah, in late March, early April, we did receive CARES funding from the first round of stimulus, and that was essential to keep the lights on, as you said, and allow for us to continue to operate while we were not collecting fares. Fares are an important part of how we fund the transit system. It may be somewhat small relative to the federal portion or the state portion, but it is an important part to keep us rolling and keep us out where you need us.
I guess take out your crystal ball and how do you see the future of SRTA moving forward, say in the next couple of years? As you said, it's going to take a while probably for people to get comfortable again, to get back to using the transit system. I know that the authority also received a grant from the state in terms of being able to continue some of its pilot projects. So how do you see the transit authority moving forward in terms of potential growth and potential opportunities?
Yeah, the pilot projects that we're going to get to continue are pretty exciting. We have an intercity express bus that's running basically every hour from each terminal, and it's going on the highway. So that trip that used to take you an hour, hour and 5 minutes between Fall River and New Bedford, going along Route 6, can now take place in about 25 minutes going on the highway. And that's something that we were able to institute back in June to help alleviate crowding on the traditional intercity bus and speed up travel times to further, be mindful of how COVID spreads. And so now, as we transition away from focusing so much on the pandemic, and we start to focus on regrowth and new opportunities for our region, I feel strongly that having this cross-pollination opportunity of the Intercity Express will really help people get to job opportunities in either city. So we're excited that that's going to get to continue, and as well as our late night service or evening service going into Fairhaven. That's something that was really starting to take off pre-pandemic, and we want to keep that service out there so that people can continue to benefit from that. On the whole, I wish I had a good crystal ball. I think my crystal ball looks more like a magic 8 ball right now. But the important thing that we're reading and starting to understand is that having access to where people need to go and when they need to get there is really important. So we're trying to keep as much service on the road as possible, but that does take a commitment of funding. And we've been very fortunate to have a very supportive legislature that continues to ensure that we have the appropriate amount of state contract assistance. And then we just need to keep an eye on how our federal funding continues to flow and hope that we don't have any dramatic changes there anytime soon.
Yeah, I know that, it's, I think we're all looking forward to being back to where we were over a year ago. And I know there's going to be some bumps along the way, but, I'm glad that at least, there's some normalcy back in terms of a lot of our industries. And I know SRTA is in that same spot. Erik Rousseau, the administrator of SRTA, thank you for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. I appreciate your time.
Great. I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us today here in FRC Media. Have a great day.